and let's hand it over to Warren. Warren, how are you today? Good day.
Yeah, good. Thanks, Chiro. Thank you. I'm very well. Is it? Sorry, is it Naya? Is that how you pronounce your name? Oh, Jaya.
Is it Gia, right? Gia?
Gia. Gia.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Gia. And Shabira, thank you for, like I said, thank you for what you said. What I'd like to speak about today is inventing and how do inventors invent inventions, because what I found is that everybody has had a great idea. Most people have had more than one great idea, and I'm sure Ichiro and Gia, I'm sure you've had many great ideas over the time, but how do we turn those great ideas into something that like a product that we can sell, or a course or a program or whatever? And more importantly, here's what I found. And Shabira, to me, was a great example of this, is that she was doing something that she truly loved. Like, I don't know about you, but if you say, did Shabira love what she was doing? I'd have to say yes. And I think most people would have to say yes. And that to me, that's the key place to start. Why is it a key place to start? Because inventing, and I'd imagine teaching, and most things we do, they don't always go to plan. Like sometimes they come unstuck, our plans don't work. So if they don't go to plan and we're doing something we love, it's just easier to keep on going over the humps. Like think about the times when you're doing something that you really love to do, and as I said, it didn't quite go as you thought it might, but you keep on going, you keep on persisting. So I think that's the real key to doing anything creative, whether it be teaching or inventing or whatever it is, because teaching is very creative as well, is to start off doing something you love. And, I kind of love toys and love kids. And so that was really where I started. But then for me, I narrowed it down a bit more specifically. It's like, I love toys and I love being involved with kids, but it's a bit of a, so where do you go from there? Well, here's what happened for me. This is how my inventing journey started, or one of my most successful products was that I remember I was in Germany at a toy fair, listening to some friends of mine. And at the time, Lego Lego still are, Lego were the main people, the main business in the game. And a friend of mine said to me, Warren, why don't you come up, you're an inventor, why don't you come up with something that we can compete with Lego? And I just kind of went off the top of my head, and I had a little bit more hair then, right? And went off the top of my head, and I thought, all right, how would I go about doing that? And then and to be honest, I forgot it. I just put it went in the back of my mind. And I remember about 3 months later, I was driving my car and I was driving down the road, and I went, wow, what was one of those light bulb moments? Why not build a building block that moves? And that was kind of the start of my journey. Like, that was, all right, I'm going to do that. How I was going to do it, I had no idea how it was going to work out, but it gave me a starting point. So here's what I did. I started to gather all the information that I could about Lego blocks. And if you don't mind, I'll just share another one of my, well, I shall try it out first here, if this works. Here's Lego blocks, right? When they click together, see how they click together. You can form straight lines, you can form right angles, but that was pretty much all they did. And I thought, all right, if we made one that moved, if we made a building block system that moved, that would be pretty cool. I thought kids would like that. However, how was I going to make those blocks move like that? Because Lego doesn't do it. Like Lego has wheels and special pieces, but didn't do it. So that was my next challenge. How was I going to make them so they move? And again, I was, to be honest, I was really stumped over that. And another thing I thought, well, we could make it, it's like a bicycle chain. We could make them move like a bicycle chain. That would be really cool. But the thing about a bicycle chain is that you can't pull it apart. So it's not really much good for a block. It's a good principle, but it's not really much good for a block. So I don't know what ideas anyone any one of you had, but I didn't have any idea. So I was stumped for about a couple of months. And again, I just put it in the back of my mind. All right, I need to come up with a system. And here's how ideas and solutions often come to us. The solution was right under my nose. And I literally mean right under my nose. Because ever had a pair, how on a pair of jeans, they clip together like a press stud, and I've got some here. It's like, and I don't know if you can see it really well, but there's a female piece and there's a male piece. And you can clip them together like that, and they stay clipped together, but you can rotate them. You can rotate them around. So they stay clipped together, but you can rotate them around. And the important thing is you can still pull the pieces apart. And if you've got a pair of jeans that's got these press studs on it that hold, just go and have a look. Like and you'll see exactly how they work. And I thought, what about if I use that clipping system on my BetterBlocks? That way they could clip together, they'd stay together, they could rotate and move, and you could still pull them apart. So here's what I did. I was fortunate in the fact that I could produce some samples myself because I had a little engineering shop. But if you can't these days, you can get 3D CAD like programs. There's a whole lot of ways you can produce a virtual block, whereas I produced a real block. So what I did was I kind of, and you can see on the top of the block here, there's that stud there, and underneath there's that female bit that it fits in exactly like a press stud. So when you clip them together, they move just like that. So you could do straight lines, you could do right angles, and you could do any other thing that you wanted, and you could build whole models that move. And that was how I came about inventing BetterBlocks. It was really just putting seemingly random stuff together to come up with something different. And that's how I find that most ideas and inventions are like that. And Jaya and Arturo, I'm sure over the years, you've probably had problems and gee, how am I going to solve this problem? And often the answer will just come to us. Like, it may not be instantly, sometimes it is, sometimes it's a day, sometimes it's an hour, sometimes it's like me, it can be a few months. But the answer always comes to us. And I find the key is really to be able to ask myself the question. I need to create a clipping system that moves. How am I going to do this? And then just be open to these sometimes random ideas that pop into my head. But it's okay to have some prototype building blocks. It's like any idea. It's okay to have an idea. And even with Shabira, like, it's okay to have an idea. It's one thing to have an idea, you want to be a teacher. It's a whole nother thing to go out in the world and put it out in the world and have people come to you and say, teach me, please. Or have people come to us and say, like, we want to sell our blocks, because when I first invented these blocks, I made about 1,000 blocks. And I remember making the 1,000 blocks, and the simple way I made them, every second block was a reject. It'd take me about a minute to mold a block. So I was sitting there for days just making blocks, trying every second one out because it wasn't working. But how was I going to get them out into the general public? How was I going to sell the blocks? So not only could I make some money from it, but of course kids and parents could get to use them, and they would have fun using them. So that was a whole nother skill that I had no idea to do, to be honest. That was a skill that I didn't have, but I needed to go out and it needed to be handled. So here's what I'd like to, I'll just share my other camera with you, because there's it's just a little bit of a puzzle that makes it much clearer how I went about it. There it is. Hopefully my other camera, yes, my other camera's working, I think. Yep. So it's in the form of a puzzle. Oh no, am I having one of those Zoom moments that doesn't quite work that well? It's in the form of a puzzle. So so we go back to my original thing was I found an area that I love doing. That was kids, and that was toys. So that's one piece of the puzzle. The second piece of the puzzle was I found, all right, how was I going to develop a product that would do that? So I thought, okay, I'll build a building block system that moves. And the third piece of the puzzle was I actually figured out how to do it. And as you well know, like often a great idea or an idea is presented by a light bulb. But that was all I had. Like that was me, that was my idea. That was all I had, was an idea. I needed to make it bigger. So one of the things that I needed to make it bigger was I needed to organize someone to manufacture it. So I went into, I found a manufacturer, and I needed to organize someone to distribute it, because it's okay to have a product, but we sold our products throughout the world. So I needed to have people who could actually distribute our product throughout the world. And if you've got an education program these days, it's much easier because you've got a thing called the internet. Now, the internet is just a wonderful distribution tool for distributing anything. And I had a physical product, so it needed to be shipped. So we had another piece in there. And then the other thing I needed to be able to, and here was a key thing for me. Like I said at the beginning, I had no idea how to sell it and market it. And I don't know if Chiro or Jai, you've ever been involved in selling or marketing or getting a product out there, but honestly, I had no idea. But what I did is I went out and found people who could do it, because I figured if I can't do it, I need to find people who did. So I found some people who could do it. So there was another part of the puzzle. So gradually our puzzle was coming together. And also for me, what I also needed was, it cost me money to do it. So I needed to organize some money to do it. And I didn't have any money to do that. So what I did is I found some people who wanted to be involved, and they put the money in. Now, the beauty of these days, so that was another piece of the puzzle. But the beauty of these days is that often, particularly, and Shabira was a great example of this. She was a truly great example of this. Often, like Shabira, she didn't really need money so much to help her become a teacher. What she needed was support. Now, support can come in the form of like your mum obviously supports her and does that. But when I say money, what I really mean is money's part of it. What you really need is support. So you need people on your team. And Achiro and Jai, I'm sure if you have a think about some of the things you've done over the years and the people who've helped you do it, it may be, it could be business people, could be friends, could be fellow teachers, could be parents, could be anyone. But you really need some people to support you not only to do the things that you can't, or maybe not do that well yourself, but also when things aren't going well, sometimes the word of encouragement makes a big difference. But there's two things that were really key, I find, to anything. And one is sales, and the other one is marketing. Because here's what I found was that I had a product before this, and I'll just go back to my other camera again. I had a product before this called a shuffle bar. Now, it was in my opinion, it was a great product. Kids really loved it. And I'll see if I can share my screen. I got a little video of it here. I'll see if I can just share my screen so you can actually see. So you can actually see what it was. Okay, here we go. No, my YouTube, where is it? Sorry, my YouTube one's not coming up.
Are you trying to
just
share?
Yeah, I'm trying. Yeah, I'm trying. Yeah, I've got a YouTube video queued ready to go. I'm just trying to bring it up. I wasn't quite as clever as I thought I was. Okay, let me yeah, no, I can't see this. Sorry about that.
Does your
Just,
share button, maybe your share button has two tabs. One that is like the normal share and the advanced share.
oh, it could have too. Hang on, I'll go to this. Try that. Let's try this. Here we are.
There you go.
All right. Now tell me if you can hear it. Here it is, a shuffle button.
No, no sound.
No sound?
No. There's a small checkbox below. If you click on share screen again,
Yeah.
below there's gonna be like there's gonna be like a checkbox where it says share sound.
Okay. Thank you for your patience. I'm just going to bring up my how do I I'm trying to bring up my
You'll have to stop sharing. You have to stop
so I'm trying to
sharing.
bring up my
You have to stop sharing it and then share it again. And then in that advanced
all right. Thank you. Let me have
there's a-
another go. So I got okay, so I got share screen. Share sound. There it is. Optimized for video clip. Okay, thank you, Achiro. Let's have another go at this. Can you hear the sound now? Okay, I'll stop sharing that now. I'll go back to the stop share. What are your thoughts on that product? Like when we did the testing, like kids loved it. To me, it was an exciting product. Parents loved it. You know, does anyone think that would have been a successful product? Kids would have bought it. People would have bought it. What are your thoughts on that? You know, Shira, do you have any thoughts on that? Jai, do you think that would have been a successful product? Oh,
Yeah, it looked really fun for the kids. So I think it would have been a successful product, and even I would want to buy it.
thank you, Jaya. Thank you. And we had a lot of reaction from kids. But in actual fact, from a commercial point of view, it was an absolute failure. It cost me $100,000, that product. And why it had nothing to do with the product. It was like you, Jai, kids loved it. They wanted to buy it. But we didn't know, and I didn't know, and we didn't market it or we didn't sell it. It was something that we didn't do. We didn't market it. No one kind of knew. You know, we couldn't get our product out there into the public so the public could see what it was. And that really taught, like, it was an expensive lesson to learn. It's like you can have a great product like that, but if people don't know about it, they're not going to buy it. And we got it into some retail stores and had it on the shelves. But the problem was when the product was in the box, kids and parents couldn't see how it worked. They couldn't see how much fun it was. So again, they didn't buy it. So it taught me a lot about marketing. And that's why I come back to this puzzle here. Just going back to my other camera. Hopefully the electronic people are looking after me. There it is. That's why this puzzle here, you need to have all the pieces in place, because if you don't have the marketing or the sales, even if you're giving away your product, if you don't have those two pieces in the puzzle, you can be a great teacher, you can have great programs, you can have great products, but if you don't have those people in the puzzle or those pieces in the puzzle, you're not gonna be successful, because part of your puzzle's missing, it's not complete. And that was a really tough lesson for me to learn. And the other thing about it is that you notice in the middle of this puzzle, that represents my idea, right? That was my idea. But to make my idea bigger so that it actually got out there so people knew about it, I needed to make it bigger. And to make it bigger, I needed all these pieces of the puzzle. And that's what a lot of inventors, particularly inventors and people who have great ideas and great ideas for anything, that seems to be the area that they miss out on. Like they have the great idea, which is, they have the great idea, which is this, but all it is, it's about them and a few people. To make the great idea bigger, so it becomes bigger than what they are, they need these areas covered. They need these areas to help them do that. And, you know, some people are great sales and marketing people and they can do it themselves. As I said, it cost me $100,000 to learn that I wasn't such a great sales and marketing person. So I had to find people who were good at doing it. And that's what I did with BetterBlocks. That was why BetterBlocks was really as successful as it was, to be honest. It's not because, I'm an inventor. It's not because I'm that clever a person, really. I just had what I thought was a good idea. But it was really successful because I found a gentleman called Kelvin Claney, and he was the one that made the commercials. He was the one that actually advertised it. He was the one that promoted it. He was the one that got the name BetterBlocks into most households in North America, so that kids and people knew about it. And that was why we sold them, because of the marketing and the sales. And it's the same as anything we do. We need to be able to have some, and even if it's a charity or whatever it is we give, we're doing, if we want it to be successful and to be used by people, we need to be able to get it in the hands of those people. And if we can't do it ourselves, we need to team up with people who can do it. And that was one of the greatest, like BetterBlocks was successful because I had a great team, and I had I was gifted to have these people on my team, and that was why BetterBlocks was successful. And that was kind of my journey and some of my learnings as an inventor. Wasn't really about how good the idea was. It's about the team of people that I had, and that was part of the fun. Part of the fun of me is building a team and getting to meet all these different people. Some people will come on your team and some people won't, and some people will say no and some people will say yes, but it's all part of the adventure. So that was really, in a nutshell, I guess, what I've learned, not only about inventing products, but about how to have an idea to do something, and then what's needed to get that idea out of our head, to make it bigger than us so people can benefit from it, and to get it out into the world, just to get it out there into the world and see how it works. And for me, seeing if I'm as clever as I think I am, and sometimes I'm nowhere near as clever as I think I am, and sometimes I go, it actually worked all right. It was pretty good. But when it does work, it's not. I said it's not because of me. It's because of the wonderful people that become involved in my projects along the way. So that's kind of my think I'm a little bit early, but that was really most of the things I wanted to kind of mention and say, and just share a little bit of my share a bit of my story about, you know, getting ideas, having ideas, and you know, where we have an idea, where do we go from there? What do we do from there? And how does all this work? So, Jai, do you have any questions on that, or Arturo, do you have any questions on that? Any questions at all? Anything you'd like to know? Just please, I'm happy to answer any questions at all.
I'm actually trying to read here if there are like questions in YouTube from our audience. I don't know, Igia, you have a question for Warren about this?
I really liked your presentation. I learned a lot from it, and I really liked the way you explained all the things that are needed for a successful innovation through those puzzle pieces. And thank you for presenting. I just want to know how many years, since how many years did you start innovating?
I've been innovating pretty much all my life. Like products, I was involved in motor racing, and now I'm actually learning how to become a marketing salesperson because I want to sell programs to show people about how to be inventors. But sometimes it can take. But let me give you an example of also from when I had the idea that from why not design a building block to when it was actually people could buy it. It took me, it was about 3.5 years. So it can be a process. And, you know, I know people who've done it in a lot less. And I have other projects that I've been on. It's taken me, you know, that I've been involved with almost 20 years before they've started to get into the marketplace. So it can be a real mixed bag, really, to be honest. But that's why I started with, if you're doing something you love, you know, sometimes you can get frustrated that it's not going as fast as you want. But if you're doing something you love, I always tend to just keep on going, you know. And sometimes I may not, you know, I may just forget about it for 6 months, and then I'll have an inspiration. Oh, I'll come back and do it, you know, continue on a bit more. So yeah, it's for me, it can be, you know, answer your question, it can be just it's a time that really works for you. It's a very much a personal thing, is how I've seen it over the years.
Thank you for answering the question. I also want to know, what was your biggest like challenge throughout your innovation, throughout your journey?
Biggest challenge, thank you for asking that question. Here's what and again, this is what I've learned over the years. I often find it was attracting the right people and getting money and all those things, right, that people say it's challenging. But you know the truth, the biggest challenge is that person that I'm looking at on the screen now was me. Because there's a simple formula. In order to have something like, you know, to have a successful product, I needed to do something. I need to take actions, right? And to take those actions, I needed to become a person who could take those actions and do what was necessary. And let me give an example of this. When I first started my inventing journey, I was terrified of speaking to people. I found it really, really hard. I was an introverted guy, and I can see you laughing there, Arturo. I still go through those times. I was an introverted guy, and I was just working out of my dad's backyard shed. All right. So that was the sort of guy that I was. And you know, I used to, and I still can be, you know, I was kind of arrogant, and I was angry, and I had a lot of things that didn't work for me. When I was in my late 20s, I thought, Warren, being this kind of guy is not going to get you where you want to go, right? So I started to change myself, just to be honest, right? Just to become a better human being to be around. And I've worked on that for like 35 years. And I keep on working on that. And the more I kind of just become a better person and like more confident and more respectful to other people and a whole lot of things, the more success I seem to have. And that's my, and that's kind of my thing. But is it easy to change myself? It's the toughest thing I've ever done at times. And I truly mean that. But is it worth it? Absolutely. Absolutely. So I know it's not the answer that a lot of people, to be honest, a lot of people want to hear, but it's the truth. Because I can, I'm generally, if I want people to be involved in my product or I need money or I need things, I can generally go out and get those things. But I need to become the person who can actually do it. And need to become a person that people want to venture with and all the rest of it. It's like people like Shabira, she's got a 60-year head start on me. Like, who wouldn't want to be involved with Shabira? Well, I was never that person, I tell you. And that's kind of that's what I found. And again, it's a personal journey. Only we know what's not working for us, and only we know what we can do to kind of start the journey to handle it. So that's kind of my 20 cents worth of what the biggest challenge was. I look at the biggest challenge in the mirror every day. Sometimes I shake my head and go, it's a tough gig today, Warren. Or sometimes I go, oh, you had a little win today. That's cool, But to be honest, that's really what it is. Particularly these days in the internet and knowledge. Like when I started off with BetterBlocks, there was no internet. Knowledge, you had to go to libraries. It was expensive. It was hard to get. These days, knowledge of how to do things it's the price of an internet connection. It's cheap. It's good knowledge. You can get it out there. But the ability to apply that knowledge, that comes back to me. And that's I can't get around that. I try and get around it sometimes, but I can't get around it. So yeah, so sorry if I've kind of gone on a bit, but thank you, Jai. I love that question. Thank you. So did it answer your question though? Did it kind of?
Thank you for presenting. I really enjoyed your presentation and it was very interesting. And I am sure I learned a lot from it, and I am sure your presentation is going to help the other innovators who are watching it.
Yes, definitely. Yes, actually, my younger son is like standing here. Can you see here? And he has been like kind of blown out by the presentation and say like, what? He invented that? And he said that? Is that the process? And he was like, the virtual background actually like camouflaged here, but he's hiding over there. Like, and yeah, it's always great to listen to you, Warren, and learn from your experience. And now you mentioned something really interesting here's a question from me to you. I mean, the 21st century, and all of the technology has brought and has characterized by this mashup and sharing tools. That little icon where you can share a picture, you can share a post, you can share, and everybody shares things. So that has changed the way information is like even produced and consumed, and at the same time, this whole movement of the of open sourcing, if you want, or sharing, has allowed, together with technology, the mashup of new things. So if you found yourself back in the days when you were going to invent like the blocks, with all of this technology and all of this, I would say like it's some sort of culture of sharing and mashing up. How do you think invention will be, or is being, or has been affected?
Wow, Achiro, that is a great question, because being older, I've seen both worlds, so I have something to compare it to. Here's what I find is that these days like you're saying, there's a lot of information out there, you can share it. But we need a purpose. Like, information is just information. And you can, like, it's cheap, and we can combine it. We can come up with these great ideas. Wouldn't it be cool if you joined that and did that? But here's what I found is that you still have very few people who really truly make an impact. You know, and I say that people like Mark Zuckerberg from Facebook, and I just forget the guy that started, Elon Musk, right? The people who can make use of that, and it comes back to my ability. What I'm saying is that it's okay to have information, it's okay to join them and put them all together, but then it's a whole nother thing to be able to apply what we've made to real life. And to make that work, you need a purpose. And what I find is that I don't often see people who have a real true purpose of, I want to join these bits of information together because I want to achieve this. Like, I want to bring education to the world for free. Like, I want to make education accessible to the world for free. I want to do that. And it's like, it's a true mission. And very few people have that. So they kind of, you have these great things and they kind of wallow around, but they never become really impactful. And that's, you know, again, I keep coming back to Shabira. Like, Shabira has, her mission is to teach. And it just comes out of her, right? It just naturally comes out of her. And when you have people like that, they can bring in different ways of teaching and new technologies and all this stuff and focus it on, I want to teach kids and be the best teacher I can be. And that's it. It's the ability to focus all these other bits of information. And these days there's just so much of it that we just get distracted. You know, the next shiny thing that attracts our attention. And I'm like, I do this too, right? But it's the ability to pick the bits you want that fit in with your purpose. And I find it's finding out it doesn't have to be a grand purpose, but it's what I want to do, what I want to achieve in life. I want to do this. You know, I love teaching people about inventing. So I'm learning how to become a sales marketing person and a whole lot of things because that's what I want to do, right? And I'm going to do what it takes to do that. And it's that purpose and doing what it takes. To me, that's what the key is about using technology to its extreme. And also, and sorry if I'm going on a bit, but also not only that, but I have it's about using it for the greater good. Like, it's okay to you know, see, one thing, it's okay to build rocket ships and all that to go to Mars and all these wonderful things, but you know, we still haven't handled our own planet. You know, there's still problems on our own planet on a human level that need to be resolved. So I tend to come back to, okay, how is it really gonna benefit people? Like, is this shiny new great thing that I've invented, is it really gonna benefit people, or is it just going to be another shiny great thing? So there's some questions that I ask myself. You know, I tend to like things, you know, that truly I think benefit people, just make them become more of who they are and who they want to be. And that's what I love creativity, because expressing our creativity, it just, more of who we are comes out, and it seems to contribute to other people. So I might have gone a little bit off track, Chiro, but thank you for that. I love questions like that. Thank you.
No, thanks for the answer. And well, I know that we could continue trying to drain from your experience and your knowledge, but it's time to move on with the agenda. So Warren, thank you very much again, and it's been like awesome to have you here, and it will be great to keep you having in all of this global innovation field trips and other events. Thank you.
Thank you. I love it. I love always catching up with you, Chiro, and thank you, Jaya, as well. You know, I like all the new faces. So thank you.
Thanks.